Rare historical photos, UFO, of Nazi Germany that scientists cannot explain. During World War II, amid the turmoil of Nazi Germany, a series of astonishing photographs emerged, purportedly showing UFO-like craft and bizarre alien shapes. These images, nearly forgotten today, continue to provoke intrigue and debate. Are they merely wartime propaganda, photographic fakes, or authentic glimpses of secret Nazi technology, or even extraterrestrial contact? What truths lie behind these rare historical photos, and why are scientists still puzzled by them? But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to the UFO Universe channel. Join us as we uncover the most mysterious and controversial moments in hidden history, starting with this one. One of the earliest and most enigmatic UFO photographs allegedly dates back to World War II, captured by German engineer Joseph Epp at Prague airport. According to Big Think, Epp was summoned to assist Nazi engineers with a vertical takeoff aircraft project. Upon arrival, he reportedly witnessed a saucer-shaped object already airborne, prompting him to photograph the scene. The image, though faint, shows a disc-like form hovering above the tarmac, an artifact that continues to stir debate among historians and aviation enthusiasts. This sighting is often linked to Nazi Germany's secretive aviation experiments, particularly those involving unconventional aircraft designs. During the early 1940s, the Third Reich invested heavily in developing vertical takeoff and landing, VTOL technology. These efforts aimed to create aircraft capable of maneuvering in tight spaces without the need for traditional runways. Epp's own designs, including blueprints for disc-shaped vehicles, were part of this broader initiative. His concepts featured rotors beneath the airframe and a circular structure intended to enhance stability and lift, ideas that were revolutionary for their time. The Prague facility where Epp worked became a hub for experimental aviation. Alongside Epp, engineers like Rudolf Schriever contributed to the development of prototypes, such as the Flugreisel, a disc-shaped craft with vertical and horizontal propulsion systems. These designs, while ambitious, were never fully realized. When Soviet forces advanced into Czechoslovakia in 1945, the engineers destroyed their work, leaving behind only scattered documents and personal testimonies. Despite the destruction of physical evidence, the legend of Nazi flying saucers persisted. Post-war, Epp attempted to share his knowledge with both American and Soviet authorities, though neither accepted his proposals. He eventually sought to patent his designs, but bureaucratic delays stalled the process for over a decade. Meanwhile, other engineers claim to have been approached by mysterious groups interested in reviving the disc technology, adding layers of conspiracy to the narrative. Skeptics argue that these accounts may be exaggerated or fabricated. Historian Mark Felton, for instance, questions whether such advanced technology could have existed in the 1940s, especially when later American attempts at similar designs, like the Avro car, failed to achieve stable flight. Nonetheless, the photograph taken by Epp remains a tantalizing clue. Whether it depicts a genuine prototype, a weather balloon, or an optical illusion, it continues to fuel speculation about the origins of UFO lore and the extent of Nazi Germany's wartime innovations. In addition, one of the most frequently referenced images in UFO lore is that of the alleged Haunebu I, a disc-shaped craft said to have been developed by Nazi Germany's secretive SSE-4 unit. The photograph in question depicts a metallic saucer with a domed top, seemingly suspended above a snow-blanketed landscape. According to UFO Alien Database, this craft was part of a broader series of experimental aerospace vehicles known as Reichsflugscheiben, which were supposedly constructed as early as 1939 under the direction of SS engineers. Supporters of the theory claim that the Haunebu I was powered by a so-called Thule Tachyonator 7B, an alleged anti-gravity propulsion system. This fictional engine was said to generate powerful electromagnetic fields capable of reducing mass and enabling vertical takeoff. The same source outlines the craft's supposed specifications: a 25-meter diameter, a top speed of 4,800 kilometers per hour, with some claims reaching 17,000 kilometers per hour, and a flight endurance of up to 18 hours. It was also reportedly equipped with heavy armament and a double-layered Victalon hull for protection, features that, if true, would have been far ahead of their time. The SSE-4 unit, often linked to occult organizations like the Thule Society, was allegedly tasked with developing alternative energy sources and advanced propulsion systems. Some accounts suggest that the Haunebu project was part of a broader initiative to achieve technological superiority through unconventional means. These narratives often blend historical fact with speculative fiction, making it difficult to separate engineered reality from myth. The Nevington War Museum also references the Haunebu series, noting that multiple models, including Haunebu 2 and 3, were supposedly tested between 1939 and 1945. However, mainstream historians and aviation experts remain highly skeptical. Critics argue that the image is either a fabrication or a misidentified prototype of a conventional aircraft. The lack of verifiable documentation, flight records, or physical remnants casts serious doubt on the existence of such a craft. Furthermore, the supposed capabilities of the Haunebu I far exceed what was technologically feasible during the 1940s, especially considering the limitations of wartime Germany's industrial resources. Otherwise, in the final months of World War II, Allied pilots began reporting a series of baffling aerial encounters that would later be dubbed Foo Fighters.
November 1944. One of the early interesting Foo Fighter reports comes from the 415th Night Fighter Squadron. They're flying missions over northeastern France. That's not far from Germany. And this is still in Nazi-occupied part of France, where you've got a number of lights, 8, 10, 12 lights coming in on the left of the aircraft group that are apparently maneuvering in a very unusual way and then just take off at a very high rate of speed. This type of thing was reported.
Despite their proximity to Allied planes, these objects never engaged in hostile actions, which only deepened the mystery surrounding their origin. The term Foo Fighter was coined by radar operator Donald J. Myers, who borrowed it from the comic strip Smokey Stover, where the phrase, "Where there's foo, there's fire," was a recurring gag. The name stuck after a particularly unsettling mission in which Myers and his crew encountered a red orb that defied explanation. Reports of similar sightings soon flooded in from other squadrons, prompting military intelligence to take the matter seriously. In fact, the Supreme Headquarters Allied Expeditionary Force issued a press release in December 1944, describing the phenomenon as a potential new German weapon. Speculation about the Foo Fighters' origin ranged from advanced Nazi technology to natural atmospheric phenomena. Some believed the lights were manifestations of German anti-aircraft systems or experimental aircraft, possibly linked to the V2 rocket program led by Werner von Braun. However, aviation experts have pointed out that no known German technology at the time could account for the Foo Fighters' agility or behavior. The V2, for instance, lacked the maneuverability and control exhibited by these glowing objects. Others proposed more conventional explanations, such as St. Elmo's fire, an electrical discharge that can appear on aircraft during stormy conditions, or reflections from ice crystals. Yet, these theories failed to satisfy the pilots who witnessed the lights firsthand. Many described the objects as flying in formation, executing sharp turns, and even reacting to evasive maneuvers. Notably, they never appeared on radar, suggesting they lacked solid mass or were composed of light alone. The Foo Fighters sightings were not limited to the European theatre. Similar reports emerged from the Pacific, where US airmen described glowing spheres that hovered or followed their planes. However, the European incidents were more numerous and consistent, leading to greater scrutiny. Despite investigations by Allied intelligence, and later the CIA's Robertson panel, no definitive explanation was ever reached. The sightings faded after the war, but their legacy endured, influencing post-war UFO narratives and fueling speculation about hidden wartime technologies. Ultimately, the Foo Fighters remain one of World War II's most enduring enigmas, an intersection of wartime paranoia, unexplained phenomena, and the limits of contemporary science. Whether they were misunderstood natural events or glimpses of secret innovation, their presence in the skies left a lasting impression on those who witnessed them. What's more, one of the most intriguing artifacts tied to Nazi UFO lore is a scanned blueprint of the so-called Andromeda-Gerät, a colossal cigar-shaped craft allegedly designed by the SS Entwicklungsstelle V, SS Development Unit V. Though not a photograph, this schematic has circulated widely in fringe circles and has been featured in several documentaries exploring Nazi aerospace ambitions. As per some sources, the blueprint was dated the 2nd of December 1944 and described a 139-metre-long vessel intended to serve as a transport carrier for smaller disc-shaped craft, such as the Haunebu 2 and Vril models. Supporters of the theory argue that the Andromeda-Gerät was envisioned as a long-range, space-capable mothership. The design purportedly included 4 Thule Tachyonator 11 drives and 4 Schumann Levitator 16 units, suggesting a propulsion system based on speculative anti-gravity technology. The blueprint also listed a theoretical top speed of 300,000 km per hour and a crew capacity of 130 personnel. While these specifications are extraordinary, they remain unverified and are often dismissed by mainstream historians as pseudo-scientific extrapolations from incomplete or fabricated documents. The Nevington War Museum adds further detail, claiming that 2 variants of the craft, Vril Andromeda 1 Freya and Vril Andromeda 2 Freya, were either under construction or partially completed by the end of the war. These versions were allegedly powered by a combination of electromagnetic engines and levitation systems and were intended for orbital deployment. However, no physical remnants or corroborating documents have surfaced to support these claims, and the museum itself acknowledges the speculative nature of the material. The Andromeda-Gerät gained renewed attention in the early 2000s when British hacker Gary McKinnon claimed to have discovered references to cigar-shaped spacecraft in classified US military files. McKinnon's findings, though controversial, reignited interest in the possibility that post-war powers may have inherited or reverse-engineered Nazi aerospace designs. His claims were widely reported, but never officially confirmed, leaving the connection between the Andromeda blueprint and modern sightings of similar craft open to interpretation. Skeptics argue that the blueprint is either a post-war fabrication or a misinterpreted conceptual drawing. The lack of provenance, no original document, no archival stamp, and no verifiable chain of custody make it difficult to authenticate. Moreover, the technical jargon and exaggerated capabilities listed in the schematic raise red flags for aviation experts, who note that such technology would have been far beyond the reach of 1940s engineering. On the other hand, a seldom-seen historical photograph purportedly captures a high-ranking officer from Nazi Germany engaged in a handshake with what appears to be a non-human lifeform. This astonishing image has given rise to one of the most peculiar and long-standing conspiracy theories, the notion that there was a covert alliance between the Third Reich and extraterrestrial beings. Although the majority of scholars and scientific experts regard the photo as an elaborate hoax or manipulated artifact, it continues to captivate the imagination of those who are fascinated by rumors of secret Nazi experiments and their seemingly abrupt technological breakthroughs during the war era. In addition to this, another equally enigmatic photograph portrays a group of German elites, possibly ranking generals, posed before what resembles an unidentified flying object, UFO, accompanied by creatures that bear an uncanny resemblance to beings from another world. This striking scene has led some to believe that these officials might have participated in, or at the very least witnessed, interactions with otherworldly entities beyond public knowledge. Taken together, these obscure historical images have evolved into potent symbols associated with the alleged Nazi alien collaboration theory. They leave both scientists and conspiracy enthusiasts pondering the elusive truth hidden behind these hauntingly ambiguous photographs, and questioning whether history has concealed more than it has revealed. However, one of the most controversial images in Nazi UFO speculation is the alleged image of Die Glocke, or the bell, a bell-shaped device purportedly developed under a clandestine SS initiative during World War II. This mysterious object, often described as metallic and suspended by chains in a concrete chamber, is said to have been part of a top-secret project exploring anti-gravity propulsion and even time manipulation. The image first gained public attention through Polish journalist Igor Witkowski, who published it in his 2000 book Prawda o Wunderwaffe, The Truth About the Wunderwaffe, claiming it originated from classified Nazi documents shown to him by a Polish intelligence contact. According to Witkowski, Die Glocke was developed at a facility known as Der Ries, the Giant, near the Wenceslaus mine in Lower Silesia. The device allegedly stood about 12 to 15 feet high and 9 feet wide, constructed from a dense, heavy metal. Inside, it contained two counter-rotating cylinders filled with a violet, mercury-like substance called Zerum 525, which was said to emit intense radiation when activated. This substance, along with other materials like thorium and beryllium peroxide, supposedly generated powerful electromagnetic fields capable of distorting space-time, an idea that has fueled speculation about the Bell's potential as a time machine or interdimensional portal. Witkowski's claims were later popularized in English by British journalist Nick Cook in his book The Hunt for Zero Point. Cook expanded on the narrative, suggesting that Die Glocke was part of a broader Nazi effort to develop exotic propulsion systems and Wunderwaffe, wonder weapons. He also introduced the theory that SS General Hans Kammler, who oversaw many advanced weapons programs, may have traded the Bell's technology to the United States in exchange for immunity after the war. However, Cook's work has been criticized for relying heavily on anecdotal evidence and unverified sources, with skeptics labeling the story as speculative at best. Adding to the intrigue is a concrete structure near the Wenceslaus mine known as the Henge, which some believe served as a test rig for Die Glocke. This circular framework, resembling a Stonehenge-like ring of pillars, has been interpreted by enthusiasts as a tethering platform for the Bell during experiments. However, mainstream historians and engineers argue that it is more likely the remains of an industrial cooling tower, unrelated to any secret weapons program. Despite the lack of physical evidence or corroborating documentation, Die Glocke has become a cornerstone of Nazi UFO lore. Its alleged capabilities, ranging from anti-gravity flight to temporal displacement, have inspired countless books, documentaries, and conspiracy theories. Yet, as noted by aerospace experts and historians, the absence of credible proof and the fantastical nature of the claims suggest that Die Glocke is more myth than reality. Still, its enduring presence in popular culture underscores humanity's fascination with lost technologies and the blurred line between history and legend. Next up, one of the most enigmatic and hotly debated images in Nazi UFO lore is a grainy photograph purportedly showing a disc-shaped wreckage in Germany's Black Forest. The photo, allegedly taken by a US soldier during the final stages of World War II, depicts what appears to be a metallic saucer surrounded by uniformed German troops. According to conspiracy theorists, this was the aftermath of a failed test flight of the Haunebu 3, a supposed Nazi flying disc developed under the SS E4 unit. Despite its frequent appearance in online forums and documentaries, the image's provenance remains unverified, and no official military records corroborate the event. The Haunebu III is often described as the most advanced of the alleged Nazi disc aircraft, boasting a diameter of 71 meters, a crew capacity of 32, and the ability to remain airborne for over 24 hours. It was said to be powered by a Thule Tachyonator, an anti-gravity propulsion system based on speculative electromagnetic principles. Some sources even claim the craft was capable of interplanetary travel, with one account suggesting it launched from Neuschwabenland in Antarctica on the 21st of April, 1945, for a mission to Mars, though no credible evidence supports this assertion. The alleged Black Forest crash has been linked to these extraordinary claims, with proponents arguing that the wreckage was the result of a malfunction during a test flight. The presence of German soldiers in the photo is interpreted as an attempt to secure the site and recover sensitive technology. However, skeptics point out that the image lacks any verifiable metadata, such as a date, location stamp, or identifiable insignia. Furthermore, the uniforms and equipment visible in the photo are often too indistinct to confirm their authenticity, leading many to suspect the image may be staged or digitally altered. Adding to the confusion is the absence of any mention of such an incident in Allied intelligence reports or post-war debriefings. Given the intense scrutiny placed on Nazi technological developments during and after the war, particularly through operations like Paperclip, it seems unlikely that a crashed disc of such significance would have gone undocumented. Historians argue that if such a craft had existed and been recovered, it would have been a major focus of post-war aerospace research, yet no trace of it appears in declassified archives. Despite the lack of concrete evidence, the photo continues to circulate in UFO communities, often cited as visual proof of Nazi experimentation with exotic propulsion systems. Its enduring appeal lies in the broader mythos of secret wartime technologies, and the possibility that history has hidden more than it reveals. Whether the image is a genuine artifact, a clever hoax, or simply a misinterpreted scene, it remains a compelling symbol of the blurred boundaries between fact, fiction, and the enduring allure of the unexplained. Finally, one of the most controversial organizations of the Nazi regime was the Ahnenerbe, an SS-controlled organization founded in 1935 by Heinrich Himmler. Its official purpose was to research the ancestral heritage of the so-called Aryan race, but its activities quickly expanded into pseudo-scientific and esoteric domains. The group conducted expeditions across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East, seeking evidence to support Nazi racial theories and mythological narratives. According to some sources, the Ahnenerbe employed archaeologists, folklorists, and occultists to reinterpret history through a racial and mystical lens. Beyond archaeology, the Ahnenerbe delved into occult sciences and speculative technologies. Himmler, deeply fascinated by Germanic paganism and mystical traditions, encouraged research into ancient runes, sacred relics, and even supernatural forces. Expeditions to Tibet and Iceland were launched in search of lost Aryan civilizations and mythical origins. As noted by analysts, some missions aimed to uncover evidence of advanced prehistoric knowledge, including theories involving Atlantis and the so-called world ice doctrine, a fringe cosmological model rejected by mainstream science. Some historians and conspiracy theorists argue that the Ahnenerbe also explored exotic propulsion systems, possibly linked to anti-gravity or extraterrestrial technology. These claims are often tied to alleged Nazi UFO projects like the Haunebu and Vril crafts. While no credible documentation supports these theories, the Ahnenerbe's willingness to fund unconventional research has fueled speculation. Some people think that the organization gave a platform to occultists and fringe scientists, blurring the line between ideological propaganda and scientific inquiry. In conclusion, the mysterious photos and blueprints linked to Nazi Germany's alleged UFO projects continue to captivate both historians and conspiracy theorists alike. While mainstream science remains skeptical about the authenticity of these images and their connection to extraterrestrial technology, they continue to fuel speculation about the extent of Nazi experimentation. Whether these photographs depict secretive advancements in aviation or the product of wartime paranoia, they remind us that the line between fact and myth is often blurred in the pursuit of uncovering hidden histories. The enigma persists, challenging our understanding of what may have truly occurred behind closed doors during World War II. Thank you so much for staying with us until the end of this video. We hope you enjoyed today's deep dive into the strange and the unexplained. If you're passionate about uncovering alien secrets and decoding UFO encounters, be sure to like and subscribe to the UFO Universe channel. New episodes are just around the corner, and trust us, you won't want to miss them.